Hey, I'm Leslie. I'm a nurse for 14 years. I was a former case manager, and I want to share with you some tips that I've learned along the ways to make your healthcare journey just a little bit easier. Currently, I am experiencing this with my grandmother. She was prescribed a medication that's $500 even with her insurance coverage, her Medicare Advantage plan. So the very first thing that we did was when I heard the medication, I didn't know it, so I figured it was not going to be a generic medication. I called the pharmacy and I asked for them to run a benefit check because I had gotten the verbal prescription from the doctor. So it wasn't an actual prescription, but I knew what medication that she would be on. I let the pharmacy know what the medication name was, what the dosing was, and how often she would be taking it every day. And they ran a check with her insurance, and it showed that she had a $350 deductible. So this is separate from her medical deductible. So it's a medication deductible, and it's a tier 4 med. So even though she does have 100% coverage on some of her other medications with her Medicare Advantage plan, this medication, because of the expense, because there's no generic form, she would have to pay $350 to meet her deductible, and then $125 to every month to have it filled. So then this medication is called Farxiga, by the way, if I didn't mention that earlier, I don't remember. So the next step that I took, because that's not manageable with her low income yearly, her annual gross income was too low to afford that. There are several programs that we could have looked at, like the Extra Savings Program through Medicaid, the Medicare, the Social Security office, but that takes a long time to go through, and she needed this medication now for her new onset congestive heart failure. So the next step that I took was I looked online at GoodRx, great website. I priced the medication to see what it was like, what it would cost if we didn't use insurance. Sure enough, it's $500 a month. That's still not helpful, because sometimes the contracted rate with some medications is higher than what you would pay if you didn't use your insurance at all, and that's always an option to do at the pharmacy. You can choose not to use your insurance. So when you're on GoodRx and you see the different stores listed with the pricing, I then scroll down all the way and it'll talk about patient assistance programs. For any very expensive medication, there's always a couple of options, especially if they haven't gone generic yet. One option is for commercial insurance. You can find a card that is, it covers most of the expense that insurance doesn't cover, and then you end up paying $10 a month. But that's only private insurance and not any kind of government insurance. And since my grandma is on Medicare, that's a government insurance. So then we have to look at their patient assistance program. So I'm going to get to that in just a minute, because she still needed this medication and we needed a solution. So a lot of times these medications that aren't generic yet will have a savings card that you can get where you'll get 1 month free, and you're only allowed to use one in a lifetime, and let's use it to get the medication on board and started, and then it gives us a month to work through the process of getting on a patient assistance program if she qualified. So we took the savings card to the pharmacy, and I want to share a mind-blowing fact that I got on ChatGPT, because I was having a really hard time finding. Now that I'm out of the hospital, I don't have access to this kind of stuff, and even then it was hard for these kind of medications I hadn't heard about. ChatGPT generated me a card to use. A prompt I put into ChatGPT was, find me a $0 1 month free Farxiga savings card, and it generated it right there. Usually I have to go on to a website, call one of their marketers with the pharmacy or the pharmaceutical brand, and have one, either a picture taken and it sent to me or a card sent to me. ChatGPT generated this for me. It had the bin number, the group number, and when I called the pharmacy to see if it was legit, because I was like, no way, They ran it, and sure enough, the medication was covered, and my grandma picked it up same day at $0 because it's a 1 month free savings card. So now the time is ticking, right? The clock is ticking. And I let the doctor know that we would need patient assistance program for this, and he was agreeable to fill out the application. So I went again to GoodRx, scroll down, it'll have all the patient assistance links. So I went to the AZNM, I'll put it down below. I don't remember what it's called, I think that's right. But it's the larger pharmaceutical company, and they have all their medications listed that are on the patient assistance program. And then it has criteria. So when you go on the website, you check to see if you'll pre-qualify. It doesn't mean, it's no promises, right? But it's income based, and you have to meet a certain income criteria. So I downloaded the application. I had my grandma fill out the top portion, and we gave the application to the doctor's office to fill out. Now, this is a secret. Not a secret, it's a tip. As a case manager, I know that those doctor's offices, they're not as motivated as you to get this application done, and that's okay. They have a lot going on in their everyday lives, and these are people doing their job, and there's paperwork that is coming at them and patients in real time. So a piece of paper sitting on their desk, they're not going to be that interested in filling out, even though it just takes a couple of minutes, and then they fax it away and it's done. So I call daily. I'm a paying customer, and I'm a patient, and time matters. It takes a couple of weeks, even after a patient assistance program is qualified or you're set up. The shipping takes like 15 days. So I knew that we needed to get the paperwork in and get the process started. The doctor actually, the office lost it. It's our fault. We gave it to him when my grandma was having a procedure at the hospital. And so when I called, the nurse who's in charge of that paperwork or the MA couldn't find it. And that's okay. So my grandma took down another copy that we had made, because I knew this happens. It always happens. They always lose it. It's okay. It's 2 pieces of paper. It was not the right time or the right person that we gave it to. The doctor fills it out, but it's usually a staff member who fills it out. They look at it and then sign off on it. So we got it to the right person. They filled it out and faxed it. Well, they didn't fax the prescription with it. And that's okay too, because I didn't know that this program needed their prescription filled out on their paperwork. And honestly, doctors don't do paper scripts really anymore because of the triplicates and things like that they have to keep track of, that they are all on an electronic system. So it all worked out. They faxed it. AZNM, again, I'll put it down below what the actual company was, but they were amazing. They got it in. They were faxing stuff to the doctor's office same day. I call, and again, remember, no one's as motivated as you are to get all of this done. So I'm not only calling the doctor's office, but I'm also making the call to Farxiga Patient Assistance Program to check daily on the status of the application. But it literally, within 24 hours, it was done, and they were shipping the medication. Now, I told Grandma, I said, by this time, we've waited, a little too long, and Grandma only has a week of medication left. So when I talked to the patient assistance program, I said, hey, we're going to run out of meds in a week. Is there any way to expedite the shipment for this first delivery? And they were like, no problem at all. Let me put it in expedited status. And I thought that was all said and done. We're good. Grandma got some kind of notification from FedEx that it was going to be delivered, and it turns out that it didn't get delivered. And so we were waiting on it because it had a status showing that it was stuck in Memphis, and my life's going on, Grandma's life's going on, and all of a sudden she's out of that week of medication. And I'm like, So we call the pharmacy, because a pharmacist is the expert on medications and why they're there. So I talked to the pharmacist, and I let them know that there is a lapse in treatment for the Farxiga, and they give me instructions on whether or not it's good for me to buy the medication, privately pay for a certain number of pills, or they tell me it's okay to have a lapse in a short amount of treatment plan and to wait on the delivery. So I'm not going to tell you which one because I don't want to give medical advice on the Farxiga. You need to call the pharmacist because each situation is different, and she assessed that situation on why she was taking the medication. So long story short, this is like stuck in FedEx land, so we've opened up an inquiry. I call the patient assistance program back and they're like, wow, that sucks. So we open up a medical investigation because it's important, because there's a lapse of treatment. That's okay. And not only that, they decide that they will overnight the medication again, which is amazing. And if we receive the medication before it's shipped, to go ahead and make sure that we call them that it got delivered. So it got delivered today. Grandma started on the Farxiga again, and all is well. So I just wanted to share that information and journey. Okay,